What's going on, guys? It's Steven again and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm gonna have a look at Galarian Articuno, or at least that's what we call it. It has been teased in a few trailers by now. Everybody has seen the Galarian Articuno by now. And today I'm gonna have a look or a preview at what stats this beast could have, and boy oh boy, you better stick around till the end of the video because its stats could be very impressive and this Pokemon could be an absolute monster. So let's get into the video, guys. So I've got myself a nice spreadsheet open here about the comparison of a regular Ninetales to Alolan Ninetales. This was introduced in Gen 6 and it was, I believe, the first generation. Yeah, it was the first generation that installed the forms. So we took an old Pokemon and added a new form of this Pokemon for the specific region, and I've got the stat distribution next to it. So we've got the Cantonian, they call it, the regular Ninetales, which got 73 HP, base stats obviously, 76 attack, 75 defense, 100 speed, 81 special attack, and 100 special defense. So with this new form, they don't really have a fixed method to the stat redistributions, if you know what I'm saying. They go different routes for every Pokemon, so it's kind of difficult to really put your finger down on what the Articuno stats could be, but that's for the Articuno part of this video. We're talking about the Ninetales right here. As you can see, the Alolan Ninetales has the same HP. They deducted some points, 9 points in fact, from its physical attack, which it doesn't really utilize anyway, and they've added that to the speed. The physical defense has remained, but the speed went from 100 to 109. So they took the 9 points from the physical attack and they've added that to the speed. The special attack and the special defense again stayed the same there. So what we see, or what we notice here about Gamefreak, is that they took stats from a particular stat that Ninetales didn't really utilize, and they've added it to the speed, which does factor in, because Ninetales, or any Pokemon in general, is always going to benefit from having more speed. So they didn't really buff its special attack, but they did buff its speed, and that could be very viable. So I'm gonna have another example up right here. We've got the Marowak. Marowak got a Alolan form as well in the same gen. And as you can see right here, very interesting, but I really did want to include this example as well. Gamefreak decided to not change the stats up at all. They changed its typing, and that's basically it. They didn't really mess around with the stats. Now, I could somewhat understand this because they didn't want to add speed, because it would be actually not in its benefit if they added speed, because Marowak is run as a Trick Room attacker at the moment, and if they added 10, maybe even 20 speed points, that would not totally, but be a disadvantage for it, because it would be less viable as a Trick Room attacker. They could have obviously decreased the special attack and added it to HP, for example, or physical attack. But Marowak does have a Thick Club item, which boosts its attack already. I believe it's 50%, so that's a big increase in attack, so they probably didn't want to mess around with the attack stat, but I could have seen them adding potentially more HP or special defense, for example, but they decided to not go that route. But that's the Marowak example. I'm gonna move on to my third example, which is the Sandslash. Again, this one is this one is bigger, because this is again a third example, but again a third change in the stat distribution, because they took the HP, they had the same HP, they had the same attack, but then they deducted 20 points from its special attack. Again, it does not utilize that special attack, but they've deducted 20 points and they've added 10 physical defense and 10 special defense. Now you could argue that Alolan Sandslash does have a ×4 weakness to fighting as well as fire because it's ice steel, so they potentially added some more defense to make it a little bit more bulky, but at the same time they've added 2×4 weaknesses to this Pokemon, so you could see the balancing there. It is still there, but Alolan Sandslash is definitely a decent Pokemon as a Slush Rush user, which obviously doubles its speed. So they didn't really have to add more speed, and they probably didn't want to mess around again with the attack, because 100 attack is pretty decent, definitely if you slot 130 speed on there, which is the double in Hail, which is its ability. So I'm going to move on into the Articuno Slide. And I've left the Galarian Slide's stats open for now because I wanted to discuss this with you guys. I'm gonna have a look at the regular Articuno first, which has 90 base attack, 85 physical attack, 100 defense, physical defense that is, 85 speed, 95 special attack, and 125 special defense. Now, before I want to go out into the stats that I think that the new Galarian Articuno stats could be, I'm going to have a look at potentially what Articuno is going to be doing. Articuno is going to change from Ice Flying to a Psychic Flying type. Now, although I'm gonna miss the Ice typing on my beloved Articuno, I guess they could not move away from the Flying type aspect, and they needed to have the Flying type on this Pokemon because it is obviously a bird, and they couldn't just slap Ice Psychic on there. I could understand that for some, in a degree, I could definitely understand that, but I'm still gonna miss my Ice typing on my beloved Articuno. I am an Ice type lover, but that's besides the point. The stat distribution, we have already seen, and it has already been confirmed, that Galarian Articuno's ability is going to be competitive, which is a super good ability. Think competitive. You think probably, if you are thinking about the VGC meta, for example, you are probably going to be thinking about Milotic. Milotic has competitive as well. Now, I've got these stats open for Milotic here on the side, and I'm going to run over it real quick. We've got 95 HP, base HP for the Milotic, which is 5 points higher than the Articuno. Then the physical attack, obviously, again, not going to be used, it's 60. The regular Articuno has 85. We've got defense, which is 79, compared to 100 physical defense from the Articuno. Then we've got 100 special attack, which is almost the same, on par, because regular Articuno does have the 95 special attack, which is going to get boosted 2 stages by competitive if you drop a stat. And then the special defense is the same, and then the speed Articuno wins out on, because Milotic has 81 speed and Articuno has 85 speed. So I'm going to slide over to my potential predictions for this Articuno, and there we have it. So I've decided to not mess around with the stats too much because I don't feel like Game Freak is going to mess around with Articuno's stats too much. I considered buffing it even more, but I think that's just wishful thinking, and I really don't think that Game Freak is going to completely annihilate the meta again with these new Galarian forms. For the birds, for the legendary birds, obviously, I think Articuno could be a game-changing Pokemon with that competitive ability. That is why I did not add any special attack to its base stats. It is 95 already, and if you slap competitive on there, it could be so good. You've got a huge amount of bulk in 125 special defense and 100 physical defense. Not to be forgotten here, I just told you about Milotic's defenses or base stats in general, and think the bulk of Milotic, and then think about the potential moves on this thing. This is a legendary Pokemon, so it's definitely gonna have some powerful moves. They might even slap a new signature Psychic type move on here, which does tremendous amount of damage. But in a meta game right now, in a Dynamaxing format right now, where stats constantly get dropped, or you've constantly got Intimidators coming in, there are so many stat drops in this Dynamaxing format, so competitive is a huge ability for this thing. I mean, I've deducted 10 physical attack points because I don't think they're gonna be adding any physical moves on there, and I don't see this Galarian Articuno as a physical attacker. I just don't. It could be possible. I could very well be wrong, and they could just go entirely physical with this bird, but I don't see that happening at the moment. I really think they're gonna stick to the special attacking side of this Articuno, and this is my stat distribution for it. I've deducted 10 physical attacks and I've added that to the speed. Now, Articuno was already faster than Milotic, but this is gonna buff its speed even more. And Articuno is a flying type, so it is going to be able to boost its speed even further with max airstreams. The special attack is also pretty huge because Psychic sets Psychic Terrain, which also boosts its special attack. Or not really a special attack, it's going to boost its Psychic type moves in terrain, so that is going to buff its special attack even more. And if you add competitive to that, if you get a stat drop or you get an Intimidate on you, you are boosting your special attack by 2 stages, guys. I mean, look at that bulk and then look at what this monster can be. I mean, it is just absolutely mind-blowing. This Pokemon could be an absolute beast, could be game-breaking. I've decided to only add 10 speed points. That could just only be the beginning. I don't see them adding bulk, because that would break this Pokemon even more. I could potentially see them taking away from the defense or the HP instead of the physical attack to balance out this Pokemon a little bit. Maybe they, instead of taking the 10 physical attack points, they might take it from the special defense or the physical defense and then add that to the speed. It could be possible. They could also just go with the Marowak route and just not change the stats at all, but just slap the new ability competitive, which is a very good ability, and then the new typing on there, which is also a route they could be going, but I decided to go with this spread. Let me know, guys, in the comments down below what you potentially think the stat distribution could be for this new Galarian Articuno, and thumbs up the video if you like this concept. I definitely enjoyed thinking about these stats, this redistributing from these new Galarian forms. Let me know, guys. My goodness, that's a sentence I'm really calmly saying. Let me know down below if you want to see potentially the Zapdos and the Moltres video in the comments down below, and I would consider making those as well, because this has been a blast making this video, and I will catch you guys in the next video, guys. Bye bye.